Oke, tetap kepotong.
Lucu banget. Good girl. Good girl.
Oke, sini sayang.
Duduk. Duduk.
As a shelter or a horse owner or stable owner, whatever animals you're housing, I think it's your duty to really know animal welfare and what the animals you're housing need. You know, social media, TV, whatever. Animals don't have that. What they have is us, you know, and their faith is ya baik buruknya hidupnya mereka di tangan kita. Lack of finances is of course a huge disadvantage, you know, but not all suffering and abuse is because of that, you know. It's also because of a very big lack of knowledge. Keeping them alive only is not enough. Our goal is all animals need to have a life worth living.
And welcome to EquineTalks, the Eri Media, where this channel is dedicated to all kinds of conversations about horses because every horse matters. And today we have a very special guest, Mrs. Karin Franken.
Yes.
Or Karin, who is the co-founder of Jakarta Animal Aid Network. Atau Koalisi Perlindungan Hewan Indonesia dan owner Animal Clinic Jakarta ya.
Yes.
And the CEO of JAAN Domestic,
yes.
which is a shelter for dogs, cats sama horses
yes.
ya. Karin udah involved dengan animal welfare di Indonesia sejak 1990s, so udah 30-an tahun ya.
Udah lama banget.
Udah lama banget. And JAAN memulai the program Peduli Kuda Pekerja. As you can see on your t-shirt yang dari 2009.
2009, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
in Jakarta. So yeah, welcome to our
Thank you.
channel.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited to do this podcast together.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll just get into it. So basically, we're having this little interview with you because obviously I love what you're doing here with the horses in Indonesia or in Jakarta in general. I think it's really important, all the work that you do. And kita mau educate aja to the audience a little bit about the challenges of working horses in Indonesia, whilst maybe learning a little bit more about your life and your life's passion, obviously with the
programs maybe,
and the programs of JAAN and why you do it every day, and how we can do to help you guys as well down the line. So we'll just start into it. So probably the biggest question we have right now here as an opening, obviously, is what really is happening with the working horses in Indonesia, and why should everyone know about it and be aware of their condition?
Well, you know what is happening. A lot is happening, and a lot has happened in the past years as well. You know, I mean, and I mean that in a positive way. You know, because we have been doing this since. I mean, my colleague started in 2009. And there was a break in between as well, you know, and then I picked up again in 2019 or 2020. So a lot has happened since then, you know. But so we're talking about the community here that is not only in Jakarta, you know, but I would say all over Indonesia, you know. But we are focusing in Jakarta. Not only in Jakarta, but our biggest focus is in Jakarta because the conditions of these working horses are, I think, the worst in Jakarta by far, you know. And so this community, especially the past couple of years, is a community that lives in poverty, you know, extreme poverty, I would say. They have a very low income, and they do not really know how to take care of their horse properly, you know. And of course, you know, having a chronic lack of finances is, of course, you know, a huge disadvantage. You know, but
Yeah.
not all suffering and abuse is because of that. You know, it's also because of a very big lack of knowledge.
Yeah, lack of knowledge.
Yeah, and that's where we come in. You know, so we educate, we give free medical care.
Wow.
But we also work with the government, and we try to lobby for regulations and also for a system, you know, like we have a registration system.
Wow.
We register all the horses in Jakarta, and by doing that, we have a better grip and control over the situation.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah,
So that's it. That's in a nutshell. You know?
That's a good answer. Yeah, that
Yeah.
pretty much tells it. Because I think a lot of people see the horses in the road.
Yeah.
But everyone's obviously, because there's not a lot now.
Yeah.
People are like, they don't really. I don't think they're well aware of what is actually happening.
And you know, before the pandemic, there were like almost 900.
Wow.
You know,
That's a lot.
and then during the pandemic, there was a drastic decline. You know, and there were like about 400 left. And now there are only about 193 left, you know, and there's many reasons why, you know, because some voluntarily just, you know, transition to another profession, but there are also, you know, horse owners, they transition because of our education. So yeah, so there are several reasons why the number went down a lot.
All right. And yeah, so obviously you co-founded JAAN with
Yes.
with
Femke,
Femke, yeah,
yes.
and she does the more on the wildlife,
Yeah.
exotic animals.
Yeah. So actually, it was the three of us. Oops, Linter.
It's okay.
Yeah. So JAAN was founded by Femke, Natalie, and myself in 2008, January
Wow.
2008. So it's a long time.
Wow.
And all three of us, we already have had quite a long history of being involved in animal welfare. Me, basically, domestic animals, Femke, wildlife, and Natalie, general issues. So yeah, so it has always me being focused on domestic animals and Femke on wildlife. You know.
Wildlife, yeah.
Now, do you want me to tell more about JAAN? in
Yes,
general?
yes, please, yeah.
Yes? Okay, so we'll focus on JAAN Domestic now, but yeah. So at JAAN Domestic, or actually JAAN in general, we believe in a holistic approach. You know, so we don't just rescue because yeah, rescuing of course is good. You know, but it's not the solution. So we focus on. You know, from the very start, you know, education was a very high priority for us. And we have a lot of programs, you know. So we have, for JAAN Domestic, we have an education program called AWI, animalwelfare.id.
Wow.
We also have a website for that. And we have many activities like school visits, all sorts of, all forms of education, you know. And then we have a campaign called Dog Meat Free Indonesia.
Oh, yeah, Dog Meat Free
Yeah, it's also a very active program. And then, yeah, and then of course we have Peduli Kuda Pekerja, which has been a long-term program as well and very, very active. And then of course we have the shelter. Yeah. So, and then we also have a program in NTT together with the government.
Wow.
And there we do a lot of education, and we help with getting the rabies situation under control.
For the dogs. And the
through a number of activities, which includes also, because you know the dog meat trade is one of the causes of the spreading of rabies as well. So
yeah.
we're doing a lot of education about that and collaborations with the government.
Wow.
So,
okay.
yeah,
So that means the newest program I would say is the Peduli Kuda Pekerja. Like out of all those programs.
No, actually, it's the NTT program. We
program.
started that last year, and also the animalwelfare.id. That's about 5 years old.
5 years old.
6 years
Right,
old.
so quite recent.
I mean, we started education, you know, since 2008. But we never had a proper program, you know. We just would do it, you know, by invitation, and but now it's like a really serious program because we felt the need of a lot of materials, you know, that we didn't have. So we started developing for all our programs, you know, for DMFI, for Peduli Kuda Pekerja, for basically for all, for universities, you know, for everything.
Wow.
And now, so that's why we always really underline that at JAAN it's a holistic approach, because whatever program we run, you know, whether it's horses, DMFI, shelter, any type of collaboration, you know, education is always a very big
Very
part of
key.
it.
Yeah, that's right. I agree with you as well about the education bit. So like going on to the Peduli Kuda Pekerja a little bit, like what inspired you to make that program, for example?
Well,
Was there like a case or?
Well, it started in 2009 when a lot of tourists and, also Indonesian people reported to JAAN about the carriage horses at Monas, you know. So there were many, and a lot of them were really in bad shape. So then my colleague Femke, who started this program, you know, made a team to investigate, you know, because at JAAN we never, you know, whether it's wildlife or domestic, we never just start a program, you know, we have to know exactly what we're talking about,
Yeah,
right?
for
So
sure.
where are these horses from? What are their living conditions? How are they being treated? And so on, you know, and that's how it basically started. And I think one of Femke's goals was to ban it as well, you know, but that's
Hard.
you know, that's hard, and it's
Yeah.
unrealistic as well, because I think Indonesia looks a lot like what is the outside world doing, you know?
Yeah.
Is it normal are carriage horses normal or not? And if
Yeah.
yes, then why would we ban it, you know? So so we have shifted that a little bit, and now what we're doing is our main goal is to improve the living conditions and the
sure.
welfare
That-
of these
yeah.
horses, and make sure
That's
that
good.
the owners are educated about it, and give them more skills and knowledge, so these horses are better treated,
Yeah, for sure.
you know, and because of that their welfare will improve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So, like in terms of the horses here, so when you're talking about horses, how many locations of these? Because you said there's now less, 180, 190 horses left.
193, yes.
193,
Yes.
yeah. Well, how many locations are left in the Jakarta or the Jabodetabek region?
Yeah.
for these
Okay. So
190?
in Jakarta there are 26
26
points. Yeah.
points.
Locations, and some locations they have quite a bit. You know, like you know, you have locations where there are like 20 horses.
Wow.
There's even one that has 32 horses.
Wow.
But there are also a lot of locations where they don't have a lot. They have like 2, 3. You know. So, but altogether, they're you know, it's 26.
26.
But we have also started to expand beyond Jakarta, you know, like Bekasi, Tangerang.
That's really
you know.
good.
And sometimes when there are emergencies and it's still within our reach, then we will go as well.
Okay, cool. And probably another question. So basically, with all these 26 locations, like, what's the reality of the conditions there? Like, what is the most, what do you most see that obviously is a problem?
Yeah, can I give a comparison
Sure,
before
yeah.
and after? Okay, so
Sure.
before, you know, when we started, it was really very terrible. So all horses were extremely skinny. It was very filthy. All the owners were still using a traditional medication, which is like tindik, you know, including tindik, where they put like bamboo and a rope through. You know, mainly the chest, you know, but also other locations, sometimes on the side, you know, and they would do the most horrific things. They also, while grooming, they would put a rope through the mouth and would hang the horse. All horses were extremely fearful and just did not like people at all.
My goodness.
So that was 100% everywhere. You know, everybody was doing the same thing. And now, you know, it's still terrible, you know, but it's still, because we would like to give them the best, right?
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
it's still pretty terrible. But we can see a lot of changes now, you know. So, and later on I'll tell you why. But I would say maybe 75% they don't use the traditional medication anymore. Instead, they will call us.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good thing. Their awareness is much higher now. And another thing, maybe we can go more into detail about that later, but now there are regulations that are created by the Ministry of Agriculture, which is really good. They have an SOP and so on and so on. So if something goes wrong now, you know, and obviously we will always try to persuade them, you know, and talk to them. But some people, they just don't want to listen. They just don't have any interest, and you know, it's people like them that eventually will need to be reported, you know, because they just don't listen.
Yeah.
You know, so if we look at before and after, we still have lots and lots and lots of work to do, you know, but there's change, you know, we can see progress, and you know, people are much more aware. And I'm very hands-on, you know, so besides sitting down with them, creating posters, you know, to educate, chatting with them, I think it's also very important to be hands-on and show them by actually doing it, you know, because it took me a very long time to make them feel comfortable with me, you know, because a lot of them at the beginning were like, oh yeah, this boule, you know, just judging us, you know.
Yeah, pastilah.
Yeah, you know, just judging us, and so toila, whatever, you know, just they would see it in a negative way. But I have proven myself that that's not the case, and that I do really care. I care about them too, about their well-being too, you know. So so I have proven myself. But what is very, very effective is to show them what is possible, you know, because they are good at making excuses, you know, because they're sort of in the comfort zone. They're used to certain ways, you know, and if they're used to certain ways, to change is difficult, you know, because they're in that comfort zone. But if you show them what is possible, then they cannot make excuses anymore. So if they say, oh yeah, the horses are too wild, you know, and too aggressive and too this and that and whatever, by showing them that if you treat a horse in a different way, the result is different too, you know, that is real, you know, and then they're like, wow, you know, okay. So they know it's possible by doing it.
Yeah, wow, that's really remarkable to see. I mean, Liz, from what you've done, I feel like there's so much. I mean, I visited some of the locations that you mentioned before, but I think you've done quite. I see a difference between some of the horses that we visited long ago in Petukangan versus the one now in Taman Anggrek. Later, we'll show some pictures and videos of that as well, where it's from pretty much like standing in their own coffin type of situation, like live coffin, to a much better where all the donations go, and then we build the better stalls, the better access to water, food.
And we hope we can keep on going, you know, because obviously we run because of donations, you know, and there's only so much we can do. And you know, if we would have a lot of funds available, then you would really improve all living conditions. But it's
out of the 26 locations, like kira-kira how many locations are having or have regular funding, or have you already taken care of a little bit?
Well, only about 2 or 3 locations that we have improved, you know, but you know, we help all 26 locations. So in the sense of, for example, if they need medical care, you know, they call us and we go, you know. We have educated all locations, all 26.
Wow.
And you know, we do yearly tetanus vaccinations because before we started doing that 3 years ago, we noticed that a lot of these horses would die because of tetanus, you know, because they would have wounds and whatever. So we started vaccinating them, and it has been really, really successful because for the past 3 years, there have not been any death anymore due to, I mean, they have, you know, there have been horses that died, you know, but not because of tetanus,
that's
you know.
That's amazing,
yeah, so that's good, you know.
Okay.
And so yeah, we do that for all locations, and we always combine because it's a pretty big job, you know, to go in Jakarta, you know, to all these 26 locations. So we never go to one location just to do one activity, you know. We always combine it. What can we do? Okay, you know, we're gonna go, let's say, to East Jakarta, you know, to check on a horse. Okay, what can we do? Okay, we can also educate at the same time. Let's educate about this, you know, this matter, this time, you know. So we always make sure that we do as much as we can while we go to one location.
Wow.
But when we do tetanus vaccination, it takes several weeks for us to
go through all the 26
yeah,
locations.
to go through all the locations. Why? Because we combine it with other activities, and especially with education.
So that means I remember you mentioning you also have a vet, a horse vet.
Yes.
That is with the Paduli full time.
Yes, full time.
With the Paduli Kuda
full
program.
time.
So she travels around.
Yes.
26 locations in that 1 month.
Yes. Well, you know, she's always on standby. You know, so if there's something, they call us, then she goes. You know, and if she cannot go, then we work with other vets, you know, that are willing to go, and then, you know, obviously we have to pay for that, you know, but yeah, that's part of our program, you know, to provide medical care.
Yeah. So so here's a little question for the Paduli Kuda Pekerja then. What are some concrete steps that JAAN has done to help these working horses, and like maybe you could share what are the most common things that is already happening because Paduli Kuda Pekerja started.
Okay, so well, first
other
of
than
all,
the tetanus.
Yeah, so besides the tetanus vaccination, also deworming, continuous education, and earlier I said that when we started, when we would go around, all the horses would be extremely skinny, and now that's not the case anymore.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
so when you go around, of course you still have skinny horses, you still have neglected horses, but the reason varies. You know, there are also horses that are really senior or sick. You know. And then, of course, you do have people who are still not nice and neglect their horses.
For sure.
But in general, I would say at least 75 to 80% their horses are okay. Their body score is okay. It's either standard or it's pretty good. You know. So that's I would say a big improvement.
Wow.
We are also very happy with the collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture.
Yeah.
Now,
How does that work?
Well, they've been so wonderful drafting regulations for working animals, not only for horses, but working animals in general, you know, and part of that is carriage horses or Delman horses.
For sure.
So they've made a very good, like their SOP is even better than ours, you know. So it's really good, and yeah. So now, if something happens, there are regulations
about the working animals.
Is
it just for working animals, or are they also made rules for like animal welfare in general?
Oh yeah. I think in general the ministry is, you know, I mean, they really do what they can. You know, they recently have made regulations for shelters as well, because as we all know, there's so many shelters and independent rescuers, which is really great and necessary. You know, but not all shelters are good, you know, not all rescuers are good, you know, some are also like a scam, you know, and you know, so
I can imagine.
So as the public, you know, you have to be selective, you know, and you have to find out you know, which ones are the good ones and which one are not, and you can do that by actually going and seeing for yourself, you know, and getting to know the people behind the shelter, you know, the staff, the founder. It's very important, I think.
Being really just proactive.
Yes, because don't support something that is wrong, you know, because if you support them, then this individual can keep on going, you know.
Okay, so this is obviously we're in this really beautiful place here. This is probably your HQ, your headquarters.
Yes.
So you have this main one in Bogor, just one in Jakarta?
But we do have another location where we have some of our horses, because we are full, because this shelter was never meant, you know, we never planned to rescue horses as well, you know, because rescuing is not really the solution, obviously. Even for dogs, you know, rescue is not the solution. What is the solution is to change, you know, to change mindset, to change how people feel and act and behave, you know. to make more responsible pet owners, so the need for rescue and housing becomes less, so that's, and also to make regulations, and that's one of the things that JAAN does, we, like last year, we handed in a academic draft at the DPR,
Wow.
for laws for against cruelty towards domestic animals, because
Wow.
they didn't have that yet, and also
Was it passed?
the dog meat trade. Yeah, it was passed. The only thing is they put it on the long list. So di DPR kan ada priority, short list, and long list. Nah, kita ditaruh di long list. Long list, that's literally going to take really long. So it can be tens of years, So now we are lobbying political parties to put it, well, because we really think it's a priority,
Of course, yeah.
And we can prove that with all the things that are happening in the world nowadays, in here, not only here, everywhere. So it's necessary to have these laws, but if it's not put on the priority list, at least the short list,
At least the short list.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing that you guys are trying that. So there are the two rules tentang
cruelty against domestic
Domestic
animals
animals.
and the dog meat trade.
Yeah, those are very important, I feel.
Yes, yes.
Not just for the horses, but the animals, especially
yeah.
when people, now
Yeah.
that there's so many pet owners in
Yes, exactly.
Indonesia, big animal, small animal.
Yeah,
that would
yeah.
be very good to have
Yeah.
that law put out.
And hopefully in the future there will be also be specific laws for horses.
Yeah,
Because
that would be something that would be really good.
because that's necessary.
It is.
I think we all need to have good welfare standards. And I think also in the horse community, there should be standards. How to
Anywhere really.
take care of your horse.
Yeah. Whether it's a rescued horse or a
Yeah.
sport horse
It
or a
doesn't
pony,
matter.
it doesn't matter. They're all the same.
Yeah,
They're all horses.
because that's why sometimes people are like, huh, you're paying for medical care for those type of horses, it's expensive, but for me, the value is the same,
Yeah,
because
I
I don't
agree.
value I don't look at the price tag,
yeah,
like
of the horse.
even if the horse is like imported from abroad, or
Yeah.
it's local from Sumba, for me it has the same value,
Yes.
the same
I agree.
emotional value.
Absolutely agree.
Why does one deserve the best and the other doesn't?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
it's unfair.
That's
It's
very true.
They should have the same privileges and rights and welfare.
Yeah, that's correct. That's amazing. Yeah, that's true. Like, because I feel like some people
Yeah.
kind of make a disparity between the two.
Yeah, and why
when it
should you?
Because
Why
horses are horses.
why is it like a fancy purebred horse? I mean, of course, I love looking at them. They're beautiful, but
Yeah.
and they deserve the best. But so does a horse that is from Sumba.
Yeah.
Uh,
Agree. Absolutely agree about that. But yeah, I mean, I think, how many horses there are now here under your care?
Well,
10?
we have 10 here, and we have six already. Since you came, we added more.
Wow.
So
6 in the in that same area.
Yeah, so it's 16 already,
16
and
under JAAN's full-time care.
yes, and I'm really hoping that at one stage this year, or hopefully the beginning of next year, we can move. I really hope so.
How big is this place now with
This
the dogs
is
and
this
cats
is
and-
5,000, which is perfect for the dogs. Like, for a 5,000 square meter is absolutely perfect for the dogs, and that's why we got it. But not for horses. And we ended up having to rent land outside this for paddocks. But even these paddocks, they're not like huge. We really do what we can. They
Yeah.
also go for walks and because we want them to exercise a lot, and we don't want them to. When we rescue them, we want to give, with what we have. We don't have much, because we are a non-profit organization. But still, there is no excuse, We have to give them the best.
You guys do what you can.
Yeah, we do what we can, and hopefully in the future we have much more space. So, they really get what they deserve. But until then, we do the best we can. And we make sure that they're not in, although their stalls are not small, size-wise they're okay. The size is okay, but
Yeah.
You know, they're not, later you can see they're not small, you know, but still, you know, they need to go out for walks, they need to, they really need to interact together, socialize
Yes,
together.
that's really good.
They're not used to that, you know, so the whole
Yeah.
process of, you know, for them to social, it's a process.
Like basically you're horsing them again, making them
Yes,
back into a horse.
yes,
Because
yes.
I agree with the socialization bit. Here in Indonesia, I feel everyone is so scared to let their horse even touch noses with other horses.
Oh yeah, but they need
always
that.
keep them so separate. But horses are social animals,
Yes,
and
they
mereka
need
tuh
that.
tidak bisa dipisahkan atau mungkin di paddock
Yeah.
sendirian itu emang bukan apa ya? Itu bukan naturalnya kuda.
Yeah,
Kuda
yeah.
itu emang very social.
So that's why,
Wow.
you know, I mean, I think for any animal, you know, it's very important, you know, and I'm not talking only about, you know, dog owners or horse owners, but also, you know, shelters. You know, we need to be educated, or shelters or stables, you know, we need to educate ourselves constantly
Yes.
about the
Benar.
needs of the animals that you're housing, you know, whether it's dogs, cats, horses. You need to have a lot of knowledge about it, you know, and your learning should never stop because, you know, like I said, even when you're shelter, you know, why shouldn't the animals have high, you know, welfare standards, you know? Isn't that what we advocate for, you know? As a shelter or a horse owner or you know, a stable owner or whatever, you know, whatever animals you're housing, you know, I think it's your duty, you know, your responsibility to really know, you know, learn and know about animal welfare and what the animals you're housing need, you know, what their needs are. And I don't think there's any excuse to say, well, you know, we are a shelter, so, you know, our animal welfare standard is low, you know. Why? You know, why? Because, you know, that should be like a high priority, you know,
Yeah.
animal welfare, because we advocate for them, so we have to have a high standard, and I don't think there is an excuse for that, you know. It's we owe them that, you know, and
that's the least you can do.
and we always hear, you know, our goal is that all animals need to have a life worth living, you know, and if they and you know, we have to realize that rescue or not only rescue, but whether it's rescuing or owning an animal, you know, giving them food and shelter is not enough.
Yeah.
You know, giving them food and shelter is not enough, you know.
Yeah.
Because keeping them alive only is not enough.
Yes,
you know,
for sure.
and then we go back again. We have to give them a life worth living. You
That's
know,
right. I agree.
and that's not only a roof, food, and even if you give the most expensive food and you build enclosures made from gold, you know, it doesn't matter. It's not about the money. It's of course we all need money to make things happen, you know, but it's not always about the money. You know, it's also about the knowledge of what they need and doing that, you know, and not letting them live their life in a cage, you know, or in a box or in a stall, whatever you know, whether it's for a cat, a dog, or a horse, you know, that's not a life. I mean, we should not forget, during the pandemic, what it's like, you know, to be confined in a house. And then we still can walk around in the house, you know. It's terrible.
It is. It was pretty bad.
And we still had phones, entertainment, right?
The animals don't have that.
Animals don't have that. We still, you know, social media, TV, whatever. Animals don't have that. Animals, what they have is us, you know, and their faith is baik buruknya hidupnya mereka di tangan kita.
Memang. Yeah, so basically we need to make sure that, especially it's a big responsibility.
It is.
Untuk punya kuda, it's such a hewan besar banget,
Yes.
So it should not mean that just because you can buy a horse, it should mean even more important to how can you actually take care of it down the line. Soalnya kan mereka jauh lebih besar dari anjing atau kucing. And it's like you said, we need to fulfill their fundamental needs.
Yes.
Which is forage, friends,
Yes. Yeah.
forage, friends, and space.
Yes, space.
Ya, balik lagi to continue to what Karin tadi ngomong, itu emang kuda itu hewan besar banget ya. Jadi kita perlu tahu kalau mau punya kuda, kan mereka tuh jauh lebih besar dari anjing atau kucing. Kita harus make sure kita bisa memenuhi kebutuhan dasar mereka ya. Whether that's friends, forage, space. Friends itu kan kuda itu hewan sosial. Forage mereka tuh perlu makan banyak rumput setiap hari, a lot of grass, and yeah, they need space karena kan kandang itu kecil banget untuk kuda, mereka hanya bisa muter balik badan, jadi mereka harus bisa keluar ke paddock, diumbar setiap hari sebisanya mungkin untuk make sure mereka sehat secara mental sama fisikal. But yeah, I think that's probably the end of our first part of the video right now. Terus kita akan lanjut lagi on the next part. So see you in the next video.